All right. So last week we started a 3-week series on the parables, and I've always loved the parables since I was a kid. You know, Jesus taught in 4 different ways. He taught by example, miracle, precept, and parable. And the parables actually take up about a third of all of Jesus's teachings, over 30 different parables. And parables really are a teaching tool and a transforming agent to help us learn, understand, and experience the fullness of the kingdom of heaven. Parables, you recognize, mostly begin like, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed. The kingdom of heaven is like someone who finds a hidden treasure. When asked why he used parables so much, Jesus said, it's because we have eyes but do not see, and ears but do not hear. And what he was saying is sometimes we just don't get it. You could slap someone in the head with truth, and sometimes we just don't get it as human beings. And so what it is, it's a technique to help use a little different story and to open someone's mind so they get it for themselves. So they get an aha, that makes sense. And so here's a modern-day parable, just to use an example to show you. So there was this guy, and his business was failing. You know, his life was failing, his relationship was failing. He just felt devastated and thought he was just headed for ruin. That's all he saw. And he was filled with such despair and hopelessness, he kind of just took off driving aimlessly, not being sure if he just even wanted to go on. And at the time, there were many heavy rainfalls and floods that created these pools. The river overflowed and created these pools that were away from it a bit, and there were fish in there. And so it kind of caught his attention. He went over and he saw these fish in these little pools of water just, away from where the river was. And he thought, well, these poor little suckers are going to die. So he got down on his knees and started creating these little ditches to allow the fish to get back to the river. And while he was doing it, he was thinking, wow, like I'm their God. I'm their higher power. They don't know what they're doing and realize that they're in trouble and they can't find their way. So I'm kind of helping them find their way. And then he thought, well, maybe if I am seeing something they can't see to help save them, maybe God is seeing a perspective of my life that even though I can't see the way out, and maybe God will save me from it. And so feeling good that he did this benevolent deed and having a renewed faith, he went back and changed and transformed his life, saved his business, and he lived with greater joy and faith and happiness. See, one of the things this story shows very quickly, that the difference between him going from being hopeless and feeling miserable and sad to feeling hopeful and optimistic and faithful was something changed in his mind. There was a change in his mind. And us even reading that, hearing about him saving the fish and him believing he could be saved, also gives us a lesson in our own life that is possible for us. That is the power of a parable. And so today we're going to look at the parable of the sower and analyze it to see what lessons they have to teach us. Let me read it for you. And he told them many things in parables, saying, listen, a sower went out to sow, and as he sowed, some seeds fell on the path, and the birds ate them up quickly. Other seeds fell on rocky ground where they didn't have much soil, and they sprang up quickly, and since they had no depth of soil, when the sun rose, it scorched them quickly as well, since they had no root and just withered away. Other seeds fell upon the thorns, and the thorns grew and choked them. Other seeds fell on good soil and brought forth grain, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold. If you have ears, listen. We'll analyze it in a second, but the first thing is back then in biblical times, for a farmer to sow seeds, he would carry a bag of seeds, and he would take one hand and he would throw them, and it's called broadcasting. He would broadcast the seed all over, and to make sure there was plenty, so that there would be a good harvest, scattering the seeds, broadcasting the seeds. And so seeds are incredible when you think about the intelligence they have in a seed that already knows how to be a watermelon if it's supposed to be a watermelon, or how to be a pumpkin. I mean, the intelligence and blueprint it has is amazing. And so the seeds can represent ideas or our purpose, or what our calling is, or what our gift is. In Aramaic, in the language Jesus spoke, the word for seed was zawa. And it means not just a physical seed, but the seed of potential and possibilities of good that are within us and all around us. The potential of genius, the potential of deep and profound love, of goodness and greatness in our lives. And those seeds of God and potential and good are being broadcast in all areas of our lives all the time. Now, if you take a seed, take the same seed and put the same seed in different soils, there will be different harvests. There will be different yields. It will have different results. As great as seeds are, it is the soil and the quality of soil that determines the harvest, that determines the result and the outcome. And in the same way, if you put seeds in different soils that will have different outcomes, that if you put ideas in different mindsets, there will be different results. The seeds of good and the seeds of God are always being broadcasted. The key question is how rich is our soil? How much care and preparing have we done for the quality of our soil to get the greatest harvest possible? So we're going to look back at the story now and look at the 4 different soils or 4 different mindsets that they represent. The first one is seeds fell upon the path, the hard ground that's traveled over a lot, that is not only not porous, it's almost impenetrable. And so, how many people here have ever been hard-headed, stubborn, or rigid, or your mind was just so closed off? Anybody ever have that experience? So this represents a mindset that is rigid, that is closed off, and kind of unwilling to learn, unwilling to change, unwilling to listen. We've all had moments, and all these represents different mindsets we all have, can be rigid, that we can be closed off. And whether it's because we've sort of numbed out or not paid attention, or we become cynical or a little bit skeptical or negative, the fact is we all have mindsets that are closed off, that are not conducive to the seeds of our success or happiness or greatness to come forth or to grow and flourish. The second type of ground, it says it fell on rocky ground and there was a little bit of soil and it sprung up quickly, but when the sun came down, it scorched it quickly as well. How many people ever got really excited about a goal or a thing, so a relationship or something? You got really jazzed and excited, and you kind of hit a bump or realized it was harder than you thought, and you fizzled fast. Any fast fizzlers? Anybody ever fizzle fast? See, sometimes this mindset also represents, sometimes we just talk really big, but we really don't follow through. We talk with all kinds of excitement, but we have excuses and we procrastinate. Sometimes we say all this stuff, but just don't back it up with the actions that are needed. So this mindset is more open to seeds of success and happiness, but doesn't always do the work necessary to create it and allow it to happen. And the third one is that it came up and sprung up, and there were thorns, and the thorns grew to the point that they choked off the new growth and the new plants. And the fact is, we all have a mindset that's open to success and has had levels of success, but sometimes some deeper underlying issues come that choke off and minimize our success. Some deeper issues around worthiness or addiction or, whatever our demons might be. Maybe it's large amounts of fear, a fear of failure. Maybe it's worry. Maybe it's we let what other people say. Ever had anybody throw cold water on your idea and just not believe in you? And sometimes we let that kind of choke off our success. Sometimes we can be in toxic environments and allow the environment to control or impact us. Or we have attachments, or sometimes we hold on to the past. Kind of reminds me of this Charlie Brown cartoon, and he's coming in from the field, and he's about to hand Lucy, who's the manager, the ball, and he says, "Sorry I dropped that easy fly ball, manager. I thought I was going to catch it, but then I remembered all the other ones that I dropped. I guess the past got into my eyes." And sometimes we can, even when we have success and we're climbing and doing well, as we get more, we get a little scared, wondering, can I really handle it? Am I really good enough? And we allow these things to choke off and limit the success of the growth of our seeds. And then the fourth soil that they mention is the good soil that yields 100-fold, one of them, 60-fold, and the other one 30-fold. And so what it's saying here is the quality of our soil. When we have good soil, we will produce good results and positive results, and varying according to the quality and level of the soil. And, it's really the soil that determines the success of the seed. That the seed is constant, but what the variable is the quality of the mind, the quality of the soil that it is in. And so we are the king of our kingdoms. We are the ruler of our own minds and our thoughts. And so our most important job is how well are you cultivating and improving the quality of the soil of your mind? Because it is the place that impacts whatever seeds of greatness, and God has them for all of us, of how fulfilled is that going to be? How will it grow and what will it yield? And I could tell you, good soil is a good mind that is open, that is receptive, that is positive and faith-filled and creative and all these things. I could tell you all that. But the truth is, good soil is a mind that is immersed in the mind of God. That when our minds are immersed in the mind of God, that's the richest soil our minds can be. And because we'll have all the things we need when we need them. You remember when Jesus said, "Seek ye first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you." When the mind is immersed in the mind of God, the ideas and the clarity and the patience, all the things that we're going to need to succeed and bring forth the fullness of whatever seed is meant to be born and blossom through us, it will come forth and it will be there. See, the quality of the minds is the thing that attracts and brings forth and allows us to experience good, but the mind can also be the thing that limits us and holds us back and reduces the quality and the joy of life that we're meant to have. Again, that's why working on the soil of our minds is such an important thing, because it affects every area of our lives. So I ask you, is the current quality of the soil of your mind conducive to growing the level of happiness, the seeds of success and happiness you want in your life and in your relationships? Or what would you need to do to cultivate a more improved soil and mindset to allow you to have a greater harvest in your life? If it is true that we reap what we sow, we have to ask ourselves the question, are we liking what we're sowing? And if you want to reap something better, what do we need to start sowing now to be able to reap and enjoy that harvest? The Apostle Paul said two powerful things about the mind. The first one, he said, let the same mind that was in Christ Jesus be in you. So he's saying, here's the standard. You got to get your mind to the Christ mind, to immerse your mind in the mind of God. And then the second one, he says, do not conform to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. What he's saying here is, our minds are all going to get to the place of being hard-headed or not following through in our work or having thorns coming. So we're all going to get there. He said, don't conform to that. Don't stay stuck there, but transform your mind. Work on your mind to expand your mind to improve the quality of your mental soil. So what we're going to do is look at 4 things we can do to improve the soil of our minds, to have the seeds that are within us have the greatest yield. And the first thing we need to do is to weed the soil. When I was a kid, my parents had a garden, and we always had to go and pull the weeds. We hated pulling the weeds. It was horrible. It's like I wanted to volunteer just to water, stand there and do this. But instead, I get on the ground, pull the weeds. Pulling the weeds is hard. You know what weeds are? Weeds are unhealthy, unwanted growth. Unhealthy, unwanted growth that impacts the ability of the good seed to grow in our lives. And the thing about weeding and clearing out weeds, it ain't fun. It's not easy, but it's vital. And it's hugely important in the difference in the quality of the garden that we grow and the experiences that we have. This pastor was walking along a country path, and he sees one of his parishioners working in his garden. He shouts out, he said, "Hey, brother, that's a beautiful garden that you and God are working on together." And the guy says, "Yeah, it is, pastor, but you should have seen what it looked like when God was working it alone." Every one of us has to do some weeding and clearing the weeds in our minds. And sometimes we need to ask ourselves, the question is, what are we holding on to that it's time for us to remove and to weed out of our garden? What in our past still hurts or haunts us? What are the things that we regret or feel guilt or shame about? Where in our lives might we be holding on to resentment or hatred or bitterness towards anyone, and including ourselves. So we need to make sure on a regular basis the weeds aren't spreading, that we're pulling them, we're removing them, we're letting them go, and that we're being freed from them to enjoy a greater harvest. One of the things we need to learn to do is to recognize and acknowledge the things and then give it to God. Give it to God to heal and transform. And one of my favorite lines that I believe is a beautiful prayer from Psalm 51 is this: to think of whatever weed you need to let go and pray this simple prayer: "Create in me a clean heart, O Lord, and put a new and right spirit within me." Create in me a clean heart, O Lord. Let's say it together. Create in me a clean heart, O Lord. Take a deep breath. And put a new and right spirit within me. Together. And put a new and right spirit within me. Take a deep breath. So the first thing we need to do, really, to improve the soil of our minds is to do some weeding. The second thing is we need to water it. Water is absolutely vital for life. The body is 60 to 70% water. You cannot live, you can do a lot, 3 times longer without food, but you cannot do as long without water. When Jesus talked about the living waters, and he said, "If you drink the water that I bring, you will not thirst again." It quenches and refreshes our soul. It is the living waters that gives us life. That we think it's physical. No, it's all spiritual. Yeah, and what it is saying, the more time we spend contemplating on God and matters of spirit and feeling our oneness with the presence of God, it says in Psalm 1, it said, it'll be like a tree that is planted by the rivers of water that will always bear fruit, whose leaves will never wither, and who will prosper in everything they do. The more we soak and nurture and water the soil of our minds with God's Spirit, the more we will prosper in all areas of our lives. It is the source of the greatest soil we can create for any seeds that might come into us. Weed, water, and the next one is fertilize. Fertilizers are nutrients that you add that enrich the soil to enhance the speed of the growth and the fullness of the growth. And the mental equivalent to me of fertilizer is having a positive mental attitude. Having a positive attitude that is open and positive and receptive and excited about possibilities, to me, that is a thing that elevates not just the harvest in our lives, but our experience of all aspects of life. Somebody once said that 2 men looked out of bars, one saw mud, the other one stars. So when you look out the window of your life, what are you seeing? Because the attitude with which we view is the attitude of what we attract and experience and see more of in our lives. Our mindset affects us in so many ways we don't even realize it. Like if someone came up to you and said, that is the ugliest outfit I think I've ever seen in my life. That one mindset could be mortified and feel totally embarrassed. Then somebody else be told, hey, that is the ugliest outfit I've ever seen. And that mindset might laugh and say, yeah, I know, but I feel really good when I wear it. I mean, it really is about the mindset of all the experiences in life, how we handle it. We should have a mindset and a mind that's so positive that even if we're getting run out of town, we should run at the head and act like we're leading the parade. That is how positive we should be. I saw an interview with Tom Brady the other day, And he mentions really cool. I was just so inspired by it. He said there was a point in which when he was a third-string quarterback, he didn't have a very good attitude. And the way things would go back then, or the way things are, is the first stringer gets 20 reps, the backup gets 10 reps, and third-string quarterback gets 2 reps. And he was really ticked and irritated. He didn't have a very good idea. How am I going to get better when I only get 2 reps? And I mean, he was really complaining. And so his coach said to him, okay, so here's the thing. You got 2 reps, use those 2 reps. Put everything you got in those 2 reps. Make them the best 2 reps anybody has ever seen. And so he just started getting excited. He prepared himself well. He'd be giving high fives to the guys for his rep. He said he would act like it was the Super Bowl that he was playing in and preparing for with his 2 reps. And 2 things he said happened by changing his mind to be more positive. Number 1, he actually enjoyed the experience more. Instead of being resentful for it, he was happy he had the opportunity. He was more positive and enjoyed it more and probably gained more. And secondly, as he improved, he got 4 reps. And he got 10 reps. He got 20 reps. And the rest, as they say, is history. And the amazing thing is, every one of us has in our lives something represented by 2 reps. Something you wish that you could get more of, you feel like it's not enough, or 2 reps representing something you really don't like or want to do, a job or whatever experience in your life. But the advice is to put on the best mental attitude you can, to make those 2 reps and that activity you've got to do the best you can. Make it like your Super Bowl. Bring it your joy and your passion. You don't just have to do this, you get to do this. You want to do this, you want to do it well, and you will enjoy it. Having that kind of mindset that even when we're going through difficult times, and we always love to say, hey, the mind is powerful, we can get all our dreams fulfilled. Yes, that's true. But the mind is powerful, that helps us through difficult times, helps us be able to go through it and learn from it and gain from it and to find greater peace and joy in it. And the power of our mind is like a fertilizer that improves the quality of all areas of our lives. And the last, so it's weed, water, fertilize. Last one, add a little bit of sunshine. And to me, the sunshine is that you got to believe in yourself. You got to bring all of you and your uniqueness forth. Everybody remember the Lion King? And the thing is, Simba, he runs away because he thinks he killed his dad. He feels ashamed about it. And his father, through the pool of water in a dream or vision, says, Simba, remember who you are. And every one of us needs to remember who we are. You are the son or daughter of the living God. You're God's beloved child, uniquely and wondrously made. You came here to do great and amazing things. God has put seeds of beauty and goodness and greatness that only you can harvest and bring forth and experience your blessings and bless others with it. And we need to just allow that spirit to shine. It is an aspect that will enrich the soil as we're proud of who we are, as we accept and appreciate and love our unique and amazing and wonderful selves. And if we have any trouble with believing in ourselves more, we should utilize Stuart Smalley's daily affirmation. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. I am good enough, I am smart enough, and doggone it, people like me. One more time. I am good enough, I am smart enough, and doggone it, people like me, and they do like you. And the more you believe in yourself and are true to yourself, great and wonderful things will happen. God is the sower of the seed, always broadcasting possibilities and planted so many things in us. And we're the ones that control the quality of the soil of our mind. But God has also blessed us to be the sower, that we get to be the sower and to influence the soil. It is an amazing gift because God has given us the power to interact with the energies and possibilities of the universe every single day. Don't like what you're reaping? Start sowing something that you like. We all have that amazing ability and power to choose what we sow and to improve and to control the quality of our own soil. So remember these 4 things about improving the soil of our minds. Number 1 is to weed. Make sure we're pulling those unwanted things out and releasing it to God. To water, to drink the nourishing waters of Spirit that refresh us in a deep and profound way. Fertilize with your positive mental attitude. And then finally, let the sunshine of the beauty and brilliance of you by believing yourself come forth in all you do. And I guarantee you, you'll have an amazing harvest, because that is the lesson and the blessing of the parable of the sower. God bless you.